Hello again. In this video we will start talking about the sketch tools. So after opening Solidworks, select the front and start a sketch. As you can see, we are perpendicular now to the plane. If you're not, select the sketch, then select normal too. Make sure to have the same orientation. Basically, when talking about the sketch tools, we are talking about lines, rectangles, circles, slots, polygons, arcs, ellipses, and so on. So for now, we'll start with the simplest tool, which is the line tool. In Solidworks, we have three types of lines. We have regular line, and we have center lines, and we have midpoint lines. Let's start with the first one. Line is defined as the shortest distance between 2 points. So to define a line, we need to define 2 points. After selecting the line from the ribbon here, click anywhere in the working area, move the mouse, and click again. Now, Solidworks assumes that you want to create a line chain. That's why, if you move the mouse again, you still have the line command active. So, move the mouse again and click anywhere. To exit the command, just select it again from the ribbon. To delete any segment, just select it and hit the delete button on the keyboard. Now, the second type is center line. The same way, sketch a center line, then exit the command. Later on in this course, we will see the difference between the regular line and the center line. The third type is midpoint line. So the first click here indicates the midpoint of a line, and the second click indicates one of the ends, like this. Now, we are only interested in creating these entities without dimensions and without any relations. After we finish the part of creating entities, we will talk about dimensioning and relations. Now, to clear the screen, use the scroll to zoom out. Then from this side, click and hold, then select everything. Then hit the delete button on your keyboard. That's it for creating lines. In the next video, we will talk about creating rectangles. Hello again. In this video, we will continue talking about sketch tools. So now, start a new sketch on the front, for example. So go to this menu here and click the small arrow. As you can see, we have many types of rectangles in Solidworks. The first one is corner rectangle. Select it. Here you can see we have number 1 and we have number 2. So this icon indicates the way to create this type of rectangle. Basically, we need the first click and the second click. The first one indicates the first corner and the second one indicates another corner. So click here, move the mouse and click again. The rectangle is created. Now, finish the command, and from here, select center rectangle. And this time, look at this. The first click indicates the center of this rectangle, and the second click indicates a corner. So, click. As you can see, the first click was the center point of this rectangle. Move the mouse, and click again to define one of the corners. Finish the command. Again, 3-point corner rectangle. As you can see, until now we only created vertical or horizontal lines. In some cases, you will need to sketch an inclined rectangle. As you can see now, we have number 1, 2, and 3. So, the first click indicates the first point. Now you can move the mouse to indicate the angle. Number 2, and then click again. Another one, number 1, indicate the angle, move the mouse, and click again. Use the scroll to zoom out. Let's see the fourth type. 3-point center rectangle. It's the same here, but the only difference is that the first click indicates the center point of the rectangle. So, click, then move the mouse, click again, then do it again. So the first click indicates the center point, the second click indicates the midpoint of one of the lines, then the third click indicates the corner. And as you can see, the rectangle is created. The last type we have here is parallelogram. Now, as you can see, all the angles we have are 90s. So, it's not the case when sketching a parallelogram. Here, first click, second one, then you can move the mouse and you can have different angle. We have 2 horizontal lines. So now, try something different. Click, give it some angle, and now give it another angle here. So we have 4 types of rectangles, and we can sketch parallelograms too. In the next video we will talk about circles and how to sketch them. For now, hit Ctrl A in the keyboard, then press the delete button. Hello again. In this video we will talk about sketching circles. Start a sketch on the front plane, for example. We have 2 types of circles in Solidworks. The first one is center circle, and the second one is perimeter circle. As you can see, we need 2 clicks. The first one indicates the center point, and the second one defines the radius of the circle. So, click anywhere on the screen, move the mouse, and the second click will place the radius. Then finish the command. For the second type, as you can see, we need 3 clicks on the perimeter of this circle. So, the first click, the second one, and lastly, the third one. This type, in some cases, may be more useful than this type. Try to sketch a corner rectangle. If you want to sketch a circle that be tangent to this line and tangent to this line, so selecting this type, by clicking here, you will have the first tangent, and by clicking here, you will have the second tangent. Later on in this course, we will talk about tangency and all the types of relations in Solidworks. Hit Ctrl A, then delete. In the next video, we will talk about slots. Hello again. We will continue talking about sketch tools. Start a sketch on the front plane. There are 4 types of slots in Solidworks. The first type is straight slot. As you can see, you will need 3 clicks to define this slot. The first one defines the first center point, the second one defines the second center point, and the third click defines the radius or the width of the slot. So, click, move the mouse, then click again, then move the mouse, then click again. You can have it like this, or vertical. Use the scroll to zoom out. The second type is center point straight slot. Now, the first click indicates the center of the slot, the second point indicates the center point of one of the ends, and the third click indicates the radius or the width of the slot, as you can see. Finish the command. The third type is 3-point arc slot. Basically, we will create an arc using 1, 2, 3 clicks. The first click indicates the starting point of the arc, the second click indicates the end point of the arc, and the third click indicates point on the arc itself, and finally, the fourth click defines the width of the slot. So, the first click, the starting point of the arc, the second click is the end point of the arc. Now, we need to define the radius of this arc by clicking the third click. And finally, after placing the arc, move the mouse to define the width of the slot, then click again. Now, the fourth type is center point arc slot. In this case, as you can see, the first click indicates the center point of the arc, then the second click indicates the starting point, the third click indicates the end point, and finally the fourth click indicates the width of the slot. So let's start the first click, the center point, the second click, the starting point of the arc, move the mouse. Now, the third click indicates the end point of the arc. Now, moving the mouse and clicking again will define the width of the slot, like this. Slot feature is a very useful feature. Later in this course, we will see some applications on using it. In the next video, we will talk about arcs. Hello again. In this video, we will talk about arcs. To start, hit Ctrl A, then hit the delete button on the keyboard to clear the screen. In Solidworks, we have 3 types of arcs. The first one is 3-point arc. As you can see from the icon here, you need 3 clicks to place this type of arc. The first click defines the start point of the arc. The second point defines the end point of this arc, and finally, the third point defines the radius. So, the first click indicates the start point, the second click indicates the end point, and finally, you can define the radius by moving the mouse and clicking the third click. The second type is center point arc. As you can see from this icon, the first click defines the center point of this arc, the second click defines the start point of this arc, and finally the third click defines the end point of this arc. So the first click defines the center point, the second click defines the start point. You can go this way or you can go this way. Now, the third click defines the end point. Now, let's assume you have a line, something like this. Here we talk about the third type, tangent arc. So in this case, you have to have a line in the beginning. The first click defines the start point, and the second click defines the end point, like this. What you should know here is that we have a tangency here. If you look at this line and this arc, they are smooth here. Later on in this course, we will see this in detail when talking about sketch relations. This type can be used not only with lines, but with arcs and other geometries. Select it again, and this time click this point. As you can see, it's smooth here, which means we have a tangency. That's it for arcs. In the next video we will talk about polygons. Hello again. In this video we will talk about polygons. To start, clear the screen. Select polygon from the ribbon. Here you need to define the number of sides, and then we have two options: inscribed circle or circumscribed circle. Let's see them. So let's start with 5-side polygon. Keep this option and then click anywhere in the screen, move the mouse and click again. As you can see, this is our inscribed circle. It touches all the sides of this polygon. Now select the second type, and as you can see, we changed this to circumscribed circle. It touches the 5 points here. Let's say no polygon, and now select the first type and draw another one here. Here you can see the difference between them. We can increase the number of sides, so that's it for sketching polygons. In the next video, we will talk about how to sketch an ellipse. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Hello again. In this video, we will talk about how to sketch an ellipse. To start, clear the screen, and from the ribbon here, select ellipse. To sketch an ellipse, you need to define a major radius and a minor radius. So the first click indicates the center of the ellipse. Now, moving the mouse will define the major radius. Click, and now moving the mouse again will define the minor radius. The naming is not really important here. So all you need to know is that you need to define the center point, then move the mouse to define the first radius, then move the mouse and click again to define the second radius. By finishing ellipse command, we are done with sketch tools. We still have some tools, but later on in this course we will talk about them in detail. In the coming section, we will start talking about sketch editing tools. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Hello again. Before talking about sketch editing features, we need to talk about dimensioning. Let's start a sketch on the front plane and pick a line, start from this point and draw something like this. Now select Smart Dimension. Now select the line and move the mouse a little bit here, then click again, then hit OK. So this is the way to create length dimension. Now, as you can see, the command is still selected. Select the line again, and this time go to the right. As you can see now, we have the vertical projection of this line. Click and click again. Now, again, select the line and go down. Then hit OK. Don't worry about this message now, just select OK. And as you can see, now we have the horizontal projection. Sketch another line here. Now, let's define some dimensions between points. Select Smart Dimension, select this point and this point. As you can see, this gives you the shortest distance between them. Now, select the point again, select this point again and go down. This gives you the horizontal projection. And finally, select the point and this one and go to the left. And this gives you the vertical projection. So we can use dimensioning between lines and between points. So For example, if you select this line and this line, now Solidworks will understand that you want to create an angle dimension between them since you selected two lines, like this. Or you can select this point and this line, and you'll have the distance between them. Now exit the command, then hit Ctrl A, then delete. Now draw a circle and select Smart Dimension, and here you can give it a diameter. Now draw an arc, then select Smart Dimension, and whenever you have an arc, you can see it's a radius value. Draw an ellipse, and here you can define this distance and this distance. So to change any dimension, just double click the dimension and type in the value you want. Now, after we are familiar on how to use dimensions, we can talk about sketch editing features. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Hello again. In this video, we will talk about sketch editing features. We will start with filleting and chamfering. To start, clear the screen. Now, draw a rectangle and give it the following dimensions. So let's start with fillet. Select fillet from the ribbon. So fillet turns sharp corners into rounded ones. So first of all, we need to define a radius, and in this case, let it be 15. Then here, we need to select a vertex or an entity. Let's see both cases. The first case is to select this line, then this line. And as you can see now, we have a quick preview. So click here, and if you're okay with this, just hit OK. Now fillet is created. The other way is just to select this point. In some cases, you can use fillet as a trimming tool, but it's not that used. But let's see the case anyway. So select fillet, and this time select this line, then this line, and reduce this value to 10. Then hit OK. As you can see, the part was here disappeared now. Now hit Ctrl A, then delete. Yes to all, and delete these two. Now sketch another rectangle and give it the same dimensions. Now let's talk about chamfer. From the ribbon here, select chamfer. Now the default is distance, distance. Let's see this. Select this point, and as you can see, we have 10 millimeters here and 10 millimeters here. So this was the first option. The second option is to remove this check, and this time you need to set the distances. So let's set this to 20. And as you can see here, we have D1, then D2. So D1 goes for the first selection you make. So if I'll make this selection, this will be 20 and this will be 10, as you can see here. In some cases, we need an angle to be dusted. So select angle distance, and this time you need to define the distance and you need to define the angle. So let's select this, and here, as you can see, we have this angle and we have a distance. Now select the command again, and this time set this angle to 30, and then select this line and this line. As you can see, we have the angle here and we have the distance here. That's it for filleting and chamfering. Next, we will talk about offset entities. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Hello again. In this video, we will talk about offset entities. To start, hit Ctrl A and clear the screen. So let's start with a line. Draw a line and give it the following length. Select offset entities from the ribbon, and here you need to define the offset value and let it be 20 millimeters. And we will see these options now. The first option is add dimensions. So if you select this line now, as you can see, we have another line here. You can reverse the direction like this. And since we selected this option, add dimensions, let's see what happens. As you can see now, we have this dimension added. Now let's do it again, and this time let's do it without this option. Now select this line and then hit OK. As you can see now, we don't have any dimension listed. Now select offset entities again, and this time I want you to select this line. Change this value to 30, and this time select cap ends. When selecting cap ends, the first option is arcs. So these two lines are connected by arcs like this. Or simply you can select lines and they will be connected this way. Now sketch another line and give it a length of 100 units. Now select offset entities and select bidirectional. So we will offset this line now in two directions, this one and this one. Now you can select cap ends, and as you can see, they are connected, or they could be connected with arcs. Hit OK to finish the command. In the next video, we will continue with sketch editing features. We will talk about mirror entities and linear sketch pattern and circular sketch pattern. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Hello again. Before we proceed with sketch editing features, let's talk about one last thing about offset entities. Sketch a rectangle and now select offset. As you can see, since our rectangle is already selected, we can offset this. Change this value to 10 units, for example, and you can reverse the direction and you can apply bidirectional. Sketch an arc and select offset. And here's another way to create a slot. Like, you can select cap ends and then you can select bidirectional. So it applies to closed shapes too. Another important thing, make sure this rectangle is not selected. So click anywhere here, then offset entities. Then we have this option. Now, if it's not selected, select this line and turn off these. You can see this, we only offsetted this line, but when selecting select chain, we can select the whole thing at once. Hit OK. Now, Ctrl A and clear the screen. Start with a center line and draw a circle here. Now, make sure the circle is not selected and select mirror entities. As you can see, we need to select entities to be mirrored, in this case it will be this circle. Mirror about, so we want to mirror this circle about this line, so this will be our mirror line. This line can be with some angle, so now let's set this angle to 45. Now select mirror entities, and this time select the circle and select this line. Now when modifying this dimension, let's say 50, everything will be modified with it. Now hit Ctrl A, then delete. Sketch a circle in the origin here and give it a diameter of 50 millimeters. Now select linear sketch pattern. We can create several copies of this circle in a specific order. So the first direction, as you can see, is the x-axis, which is this one. Now the number of copies, I want to create 5 or 4 copies of this, and the distance between each copy and the other one, let it be 70, and finally go all the way down until you find entities to pattern. Click here, then select this circle. As you can see now, we have 4 copies and the distance between them is 70. The same applies in the other direction, the y direction here. So we have direction 2, which is the y direction. Let's increase the number of copies to 5, and the distance between them should be 100, for example. As you can see now, we have a pattern in this direction and we have another one in this direction. If there are some entities you don't want them, and they go all the way down until you find instances to skip, click here and select the instances that you don't want, like this. Then finish the command. Now hit Ctrl A and delete. Now sketch a circle somewhere here and give it a diameter of 100 and define a distance between the origin and the center point of 250. Then finish the command. Now select circular sketch pattern. So in this time we need to create something circular like this. So the center point of the revolution will be this one, and entities to be pattern will be this circle. Now you can define the angle. In our case it's 360. We can set it to 180, for example, as you can see. So let's do 360 for now, and you also can increase this number. And as we did earlier, you can skip some entities. Click here, then select the entities you don't want, then finish the command. For now, that's it for mirror entities, linear sketch pattern, and circular sketch pattern. In the next video, we'll proceed with the sketch editing tools and we will talk about trim entities. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Hello again. In this video, we will talk about trim entities and extend entities. To start, clear the screen. Draw a line. Select trim entities and select the line. Now, as you can see, the line is divided into 2 lines, blue one and orange. The orange one is the part that will remain, and the blue one is the part that will disappear. So as you can see, moving the mouse defines the length of each one. So for example, if I will stop here and click, then this part disappeared. Again, select the line and you can do it again, as you can see. Now let's say if we have another line here. Now select the trim entities and select this line. So you can move the mouse until you get here, or simply you can select this line and this part disappears. A faster way to do it is just to click here, hold, then move the mouse. Let's see another example. Draw a circle and draw these lines. Now select Trim Entities, select this line and select this circle. As you can see, this part was trimmed. Now, alternatively, you can just click, hold, then move the mouse here. You can do it here with multiple entities. Now let's talk about this part. If we have this segment of this circle and it intersects this line and intersects this line, so when you trim this, the trim will take place until it meets the first intersection point and the second intersection point. So when we trim this, this part disappears. Now if you will trim this, it will take everything until it gets to the first intersection point, this one. And as we said, you can trim multiple entities together, like click, hold, and move the mouse. You got everything with intersection. This is a very powerful tool and useful one in SolidWorks. Now, let's talk about extend entities. Draw a line and draw another one. Now from the ribbon, select Extend Entities. So now, when you just put the mouse here, just move it over this line, you will see a preview for the extend possible. Like this. So this will extend this line until it meets the first entity. Draw a circle and draw a line here. Now select Extend Entities and select this line. So if you move it just close to this point, it will take the extend to this direction, and if you move it close to this point, it will take it to the opposite direction. Now you can extend it again, you can extend this again, as you see. There are many types of a trim in SolidWorks, but for us this will be enough for now. It's called Power Trim. It's the most used tool, and it's very important to be able to use it smoothly and easily. Thanks for watching. By ending this, we just finished sketch editing tools. In the next video, we will start talking about geometry constraints. Hello again. In this video, we will talk about geometric constraints. To start, clear the screen, draw a line, and draw another one. When dealing with lines, we are talking about points and the line itself. So first of all, let's see what can we do with lines. So click this line, and as you can see, you will have this menu here. So we can make it horizontal and we can make it vertical. Later on we will talk about fixed, but for now, let's try this. Make it horizontal. As you can see, the line now is horizontal. Select this line and then make it vertical. So now, try to drag this line. It will always be horizontal. And as you can see, we have this small symbol here, which indicates that this line has a relation and it's horizontal. For this one, it's the same. Try to drag it around. You can drag it, but it will always be vertical. And you have this small sign that indicates that this line is vertical. As you can see now, you can change the length of this line. So if you select this line, then hold Control and select the other one, here you can deal with another constraint, which is make equal. So now the length of these lines, in addition to the previously defined constraints, will be equal. Now give it a dimension and let's say 150. As you can see, the other one got the same value. For now, click here and delete the dimension. Now draw another line here, and this time select it, hold Ctrl and select this one. You can access the relations from here. So let's set these lines to be parallel. Then hit OK. Now as you can see, this line is parallel, and we have this symbol here which indicates that this line is parallel to this one. Then draw another line, and this time select this line, hold Ctrl, then select this one. Now you can choose make perpendicular, then zoom to fit. So when you click in here, you will have this symbol with this one, which says that this line is perpendicular to this one. And if you drag it around, it will maintain the relations we already defined. Now, if you want to place this point in the middle of this line, you will simply select the point, and pay attention now, we are not selecting the line itself, we are selecting a point, hold Ctrl, then select the line, and now you got this, make midpoint. Now, this point will always lie in the midpoint of this line, whatever happens. Draw another line, and this time select the line, hold Ctrl, select this one, and you can choose make collinear. Now they will be on the same level all the time. Now select this point, hold Ctrl, and select this point. We got merge points. Now these points will have the same location all the time. Now select this point and select this line, then choose make coincident. Now this point will lie on this line or on its extension, as you can see, but it won't move. It will always lie on this line or on its extension. You can select this point and this point, then you can merge them. Now zoom out, draw a line, and draw another one. Select this point and select this point, and then choose make vertical. So now these points will always be vertical to each other. If you try to drag one of them, it will always drag the other one, like this. They will maintain this relation all the time. Now select this point and select this point, and then make horizontal. Now they will also maintain this relation all the time. As you can see, when you move one point, the other one moves with it. Now draw a circle, select the circle, hold Ctrl, select the line, and now you got make tangent. Now click here and you have the tangency symbol here. It's not necessary for the circle to touch the line to be tangent. The extension of the line is tangent to it. Now, if you have a specific length, let's say this length is 100, and now exit the smart dimension, select this line, select this circle, and choose make curves equal length. So now the overall length of this height, the perimeter, will be equal to 100. Let's try this with an arc. Now select the arc, select the line, and make curves equal length. Now let's double check the length of this curve. select Smart Dimension, select this point, then select this point, then select the curve itself. And this is how you place the length of a curve. As you can see, the value is the same. Now draw another circle, and now select this circle and select this point, then make coincident. Now this point will always lie on this circle, as you can see. You can add another relation, like make tangent, and now it doesn't move here. It will always be there, and it will always be tangent. If you have two circles, you can select this one, hold Control, select the other one, and you have this relation, make concentric. Now they will share the same center point. They will move together. Now draw an arc and draw another one. Finish the command, then select the first one, hold Control, select the second one, and from here you can choose make corradial. This will make these radiuses equal to each other. Let's check this. So this radius is 66.25, and this one must be the same. Don't worry about this message for now. These are the types of relations we will deal with in SolidWorks. Now, let's see some practice on that. Ctrl-A, delete. Draw any three random lines. I use the escape button to finish the command. Like after drawing this line, I just hit escape and then I'm done with this command. Now draw any random arc here. Now set this line to be horizontal, this line to be vertical, this line with this line to be perpendicular. Now I need to merge these points. Then make these lines equal and make this line equal to them too. Now select this point with this point, then merge this point with this point, merge two, and finally this arc with this line, make tangent. Set some dimensions now, 300. This is equal, and that's why it's a 300. So there's no point of replacing this dimension now. If you try to place it, since it has the relation, you will get this message. So hit OK for now, and later we will talk about this in detail. As you can see now, this sketch is something like 1 unit, because all the relations are defined and they keep this shape intact. Now you can simply drag this anywhere you want. Now we are familiar with relations and we are familiar with dimensioning, so it's the time to talk about fully defined sketches. For now, let's delete this dimension. As you can see here, we have this word underdefined. So, as we earlier said in this course, this will be like a piece of paper. So the entities here has 3 degrees of freedom, the x, the y, and the rotation about the z. So our task is to eliminate all these degrees of freedom. And to do so, we need to relate everything to the origin here. As you can see, I can move this in the x and in the y directions. So how can I fix it? To make it fixed, we need to relate it to the origin. So the solution is that to have a distance between it and between the x-axis, and to have another distance between it and between the y-axis, something like this. If you have a look now, our sketch is black, and this has a meaning. This means that our sketch is fully defined now. In other words, we have 0 degrees of freedom, and you can tell here, fully defined. So our task from now on is to make all our sketches fully defined. So here, instead of having this distance and that one, let's delete them. If we place a distance like the ones we did, but to have them zeros, that means this point will be the same on this point. So let's define a relation here instead of having 2 dimensions. So if we select this point, then holding Control, then selecting this point, we can say make coincident. And now, as you can see, we have a fully defined sketch. That's it for geometric constraints and degrees of freedom. In the next video, we will talk more in detail about degrees of freedom, and we will have a practice on it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Hello again. In this video, we will simulate the motion of this mechanism. We will analyze the constraints we have, then finally we will get the motion of this mechanism. Now looking at this mechanism, we have this point and this point, and as you can see, they are horizontal to each other. This is the first thing. Then this length is fixed, and this length is fixed. So now we need 2 lengths, and we need this slider here. To start here from the origin. When you do so, you have this black point, which means this point is fully defined. And we still can't change the length of this line, so we need to set a value, and let this be 100. Now we need another length, and let this be 150. And finally, we need that slider. So from here, select center rectangle and move the mouse until it snaps here. Then here you will have a relation, then hit OK. Now we need to define these values here. And finally, as we said, we have this point and this point with horizontal relation. Now, when this point moves, it won't go up or down. So let's hide the dimensions for now, and let's try to check the motion. As you can see, this is the motion that we can get from this mechanism. You can select this line, and here you can change the length and you can change the angle. So by clicking here, we may see something like this. It's very important to understand the principle of degrees of freedom so you can create fully defined sketches. And the sketches with some degrees of freedom when needed. Hit Ctrl A, then delete. Hello again. In this video, we will simulate this mechanism. Let's analyze this picture for now. As you can see, we have this slot, which is horizontal, and we have this slot, which is vertical. We can replace them by a horizontal line and a vertical line in Solidworks. Then we have this slider, which moves only this way, and this slider, which only moves this way. This line of the slider will always be vertical, and this one will always be horizontal. And it's the same here, and they are equal. So we have this link that connects them, and the length from this point to this point is fixed. Let's see this. So start with midpoint line and start from the origin, so you won't need to define any distances. Now draw another midpoint line and make sure you keep moving the mouse until you get this symbol, which means it's vertical. Now I need these two lines to be equal to each other, and finally I need to turn them into a construction geometry and give them a length. So let this be 400. Now let's draw the sliders here. I need these 4 sides to be equal. Now only give a length for one of them. Drag this here and drag this here. Now this point and this line should be coincident, and this point and this line should be coincident too. Now drag this and drag this somewhere here, and finally pick a line, draw something like this, then select this point and this point, make coincident, then this point, and then make coincident. Now this length can be changed, so let's define it. Let it be 120. Now let's hide the dimensions here. Exit the Smart Dimension and now select this line, and as you can see, let's try to change the angle. In changing the angle, this link rotates. Drag in both sliders with it. Honestly, this way of simulating mechanisms doesn't work with complex mechanisms. That's why it's okay to use it for simple mechanisms, and you can use it for verification. Like, you can measure the lengths, the distances, and everything before you start your real modeling and the 3D modeling. That's it for simulating simple mechanisms. In the next video, we will start our practice on sketch tools. We will practice from the scratch until we get to a level where we can draw very complex sketches with fully defined conditions. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.